to begin with, it was always like, okay, let's smoke, but we're gonna go do something.
Yeah.
It was always like that. I think that's why it's so easy for me to do everything, under the influence. It's it's a mindset, really. If you want to be lazy, you can be lazy.
Of course.
But if you want to do something, like, let's go get it done.
What are you talking about?
Smoking in a bong or a blunt.
Grass. Blank. Reefer. Was is job it just means like that's the fucking joint. Ganja. Hash.
Fucking awesome.
Hello and welcome back. This week I'm talking with one of my former students, Gianna, to hear about her relationship with cannabis along the way, from finding sport, going into exercise science at Humboldt, and then everything she's up to since then. She's a true lifelong learner, and I'm so excited to have this conversation with her. Enjoy! All right, cool. Okay, so hello and welcome to the show, Gianna. And I know you because you were one of my students.
Yes.
And you were in two of my classes?
Yeah, two.
All right. And one of the things that stood out to me about you is that you always did projects related to cannabis in my classes.
Yes.
So I was like, when I started this, I was like, my short list of students I wanted to talk to, like you were like, you made the short list.
Cool.
So,
cool.
So yeah, tell me more about like what got you interested in even like doing projects in my classes about cannabis.
It's, I always like to connect things back to cannabis because I smoke a lot. I smoke, and everything, like, what the schooling I was in, was all about exercising, your body. And it was just like an easy connection to do for me. It was easy to talk about,
right?
It was easier for me to write about because it was all experience based.
Right.
So that's why, and I love to talk about it because it's like real experience and it works, it's like beneficial. So
right.
Yeah, I love connecting with science and cannabis. Yeah.
Totally. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, what got you interested in exercise science to begin with?
Or kinesiology? Yeah, I was an athlete, when I was younger. And
what sports?
All the sports. But my favorite sports had to be soccer and volleyball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sports.
But I liked sports, but I realized I'm not going to be a professional athlete.
Right.
So I was like, let me just surround myself in athletes. And, I really wanted to be an athletic trainer, but then I like dived deeper into it, heard about like the hours, what you have to go through, and I was like, it's not really for me.
Right.
But so yeah, that's how it's exercise. I just like to be in that like sports area, that mindset of athletes, the motivation, the vibe of it. I just I like it.
Yeah. I know it's I feel like that happens all the time with people who go into exercise science, where it's just like at one point I was an athlete, but like I wasn't going to become an athlete for my living, but I still want to be around it.
Right.
And so like, let me just learn everything I can about it. And then now I'm at my phase of like knowing too much about exercise, where I can't just like enjoy exercise anymore. I'm like in my head way too much.
It's like too serious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's like fun to like come back to the students and like, all right, what do you guys like about this? Like,
right.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. Makes me feel like better about my own brain. But tell me more about your time like as an athlete. Like what was like kind of the vibe like when you were growing up in sports?
It was, so I played a lot of like for the city. I did a lot of soccer for the city and softball.
And where did you grow up again?
In the Bay Area.
Got it.
Specifically Sunnyvale. Okay. That's like the city I'll like claim, I guess.
Okay, got it.
But so I did a lot of soccer, and I'm a very competitive person. And it was just very competitive. Even like in PE, I was so competitive. But it was just always, for me, I feel like sports was kind of easy too. I don't know. It was just fun. I liked competing. I liked getting better. I liked the training. It was just the getting better, exactly. And the results. So that's what I like. That's what drawn me to like athletics.
Totally. So like when I was a high school athlete, I had to like sign something that said I wasn't gonna like, do drugs and alcohol and all that kind of stuff. Was that at all part of the vibe growing up?
I mean, it might have been. I just may have not like read it. Like, I mean, I'm assuming so, but like we never got drug tested or anything like that. But I mean, yeah, I don't think so though.
Okay.
It might have been though, because I wasn't like a serious athlete. So maybe it wasn't like, but for like the people that were definitely like working towards something, maybe, but yeah, for me, I couldn't. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
But if it was for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that.
Oh, because you grew up in another state though.
Yeah,
it's different.
Midwest,
for sure.
Midwest stuff. Like that's something a lot of like Midwestern like things in my back of my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you guys were doing these projects about cannabis, I was just like, I might lose my job. Like,
that's why I was like, is this okay? I was like, it's illegal though. I think it's okay.
I know. I was just like, everyone be cool.
Right, be cool.
Everyone be cool. No one needs to know about this outside this classroom, right?
I was like, as long as we're connecting with it, I don't know.
But it was just like, all right, that's like the Midwestern part of my brain that like I'm just not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, how did you get like introduced to weed?
So I shared a room with my brother like all like when we were younger. I think it was like up until like junior year. So he
older or younger?
Older.
Okay.
He would always have I don't remember him like really smoking as often like in this time period, but he would always have this cannabis infused lemonade. And he would always drink it before he went to bed. And he'd be like, all right, I'm gonna just take this. And I'm like, give me some, but he's just like, nah, I need the whole bottle. So it was kind of like that, I guess. And he never acted like he was doing too much. He was just like, he was just cool. So I was like, okay, this is kind of, because with alcohol, how you be like, sometimes, it's a little too much.
The devil's liquid,
But like, he was just so cool. And I was like, okay. And then I always told, his name's Tyler. So I always told him, I was like, dude, like, I want to, if I'm going to do this, let's do this right, like, and I trust you and everything. He goes, okay. But like, we never talked about that. I was like, okay, so when are we going to do this?
Right.
But so my dad left for the weekend and he came home with 4 joints. He goes, all right, let's go. I was like, all right, cool. So I think I was like sophomore or something like, because he was a senior, sophomore. And then that's when I started smoking weed. And then after that, like, I don't know, I picked up from Tyler. So I would, get my tree through him. And then I would just, just smoke here and there. And it just came so like, I was able to like do things on it. I never treated smoking like, let's smoke and let's just be lazy.
Right.
It was rare, of course, like I have my homies that I'd be smoking with sometimes and like, let's get, let's just, of course just you hang, of course you have those moments. Totally. But like, to begin with, it was always like, okay, let's smoke, but we're going to go do something.
Yeah.
It was always like that. I think that's why it's so easy for me to do everything, under the influence, it's just it's a mindset, really. If you want to be lazy, you can be lazy.
Of course.
But if you want to do something, like, let's go get it done.
Yeah.
But it was,
I love that. Well, and also like just knowing your personality is just like you and him just like hanging out. Like I just like don't even see you just like being lazy.
Right.
Anyways.
It's like hard,
a go-getter, like always kind of on the move. So
I mean, like I will like smoke weed before I go to sleep, but like it's just, I don't know, it's just hard to be lazy on it. Because like it's also because drugs open up the mind so much, so it's just like I like enjoying the high. Exactly. I don't like to ignore it. I like to enjoy it.
Ooh, tell me more about that. Like what kind of things do you like to enjoy?
Well, it's just like I just like to like feel it. You know what I mean? And understand it, because it really allows me to just be cool in other situations.
Yeah, it's been interesting because I've been playing around with, I was just saying this before, like I've been playing around with trying different strains and like exercising, and I'm realizing like sometimes it helps me like in a gym kind of setting to like just like tune out and like be in my own space and just be like, all right, we're just gonna climb, we don't need to talk to anyone,
right?
And like when I do see someone at the gym that I know, I'm just like, oh fuck, like now I have to like talk to them,
right?
Like, oh god,
right?
And so it's like there's definitely like I know I'm still like learning, there's like a time and place for things, and I'm still trying to figure out like what, I don't know, because all these different strains, like when you go to the store, it's like indica, sativa, hybrid, and like percent THC, and it's like, I don't know, which one do you recommend for exercise? And then people are always like, oh, here's a sativa, and it's like,
but the thing is, if you see, well, I'm an indica smoker.
Okay.
Like, you know, I'll smoke indica.
How did you figure that out about yourself?
I just, because it hits harder for me.
Okay.
You know, I like the heavy hitter smoke.
Yeah.
Because like sativa, you know, yeah, I'll smoke it. I love laughing. You know, it's like the best thing. But yeah, because sometimes sativa, it's like too much.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like because indica, I just feel cool. Sativa, you know, I feel like I can keep going.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because I'm, you know, I'm that type of person. I will keep going. So if I get more of that, sometimes it's like, whoa, let's just stay here.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, super interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So when did you start? Like, it sounds like you were already like, let me, you know, smoke weed and then go do something. When did you start like combining cannabis with like exercise or starting to like relate those two things?
Yeah, I really started exercising in senior year of high school. Like I really started weightlifting and going to the gym. And I don't know, I never like, I don't think I like it wasn't like, oh, I can't smoke because I'm going to the gym. It was kind of just like, oh, because I always smoked and did my homework because it helped me really just stay there. And then so I was like, okay, maybe if I just, you know, I'd always just smoke before I went to the gym, and it always made me like go harder. It was, you know, and my friends would be like, oh, like you're really getting loaded right now. I was like, yeah, this is my pre-workout. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know, it helps me for sure. And then so I have asthma, and for some reason I'm able to like really focus on my breathing and like control it better.
Oh, when you're smoking. Interesting.
Right. Like I'm telling you, it just makes me stay here instead of because you know, when I'm exercising, sometimes your mind just wanders.
Totally.
So with the tree, it just helps me stay in my body, realize I run better because I'm just focused on one part. It helps me really just set aside each of my body parts and focus on them and like focus on how they're moving and how they can be better. I think it's helped, like massage helped me so much in figuring out my body. Like I don't think if I took massage therapy I'd be so deep into my body the way I am, but because I like opened up myself to like the holistic side, and like when I connected, I mean, it was just amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I definitely want to talk about that a little bit because, you know, exercise science can be like, it can go really hardcore into like some of the cellular things, and then I know that like you're just like so business minded, and like I think that you and I are like similar, and just if I can see it, like we're cool, but like if I can't see it, it's just I'm just not super interested.
Exactly.
And so like just like physical tactile kind of like learners. And so yeah, when did you start getting into massage?
I started massage 2019.
Okay.
I got into it, so I went to go visit my friend in Phoenix, and she was a massage therapist, and she was like working on us, and like she was just talking about what she does in her day-to-day. And you know, like in the back of my head was the athletic trainer like career, right?
Yep.
And then so her talking about, I was like, why did I never think about massage therapy? I was like, her, and like the way she was like using her, I was like, why did I never think about this? So I didn't really like good deep. I was just like, you know what, let me just see if I get into it. So then I signed up at Loving Hands, and it was just I liked it. It was it was because I got so much science from Humboldt, and then you know, of course they were like, of course we have the anatomy and the physiology, you know, at Loving Hands, but they were so holistic based that it just I was so much more intrigued with it. You know, it was a whole different language. Like we went. I always say this because it was just like, it wasn't the weirdest thing, but it was just something that I've never done before. But we went in there, and the first thing, you know, we did is we cleansed her aura. I was like, okay. I was like, I'm like, you know, because like the people who were in my class, they were from here, you know, they were older than me. They're a little bit more comfortable with this stuff. And I was like, all right, I guess we're cleansing her aura. I'm down. But then I got so into it. I was like, you know, as soon as I got more into it and I allowed myself to get into it, it's real. Like this stuff is also, you know, all that science too, that's real, right? But this also backs it up. You know, it's crazy. Oh,
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now with like your greater understanding of like massage and like and auras and like all that kind of stuff.
All that stuff.
So like, because I've now realized that there are certain strains that like I get too much in my head with like like trying to make sense of my body, where I'm just like, just run. Like don't worry about like have I been running on the right side of the street too often? Maybe that's like
when you get a
shifting,
little
like
too deep.
Yeah.
When you get kind of the paranoia from it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so like, what do you think about like when you're exercising with
I definitely felt, I think sometimes when I'm like a little too high, I definitely feel kind of that like the social anxiety of being at a gym.
Mhm.
That's why I love empty gyms. I hate going. Oh my gosh, empty gyms is like
Exactly.
the
Me
best.
too.
That's why I go like early in the morning or late at night.
I go to the climbing gym at 8:30. They close at 9.
Never
It's
like
perfect.
I would never go like in the, like at 2:00. That's just
No,
weird.
exactly,
It's just weird.
exactly.
I don't even know people go after work sometimes.
I know.
But
Yeah, pass.
so if like, when I deal with that, I feel like I just have to bring my mind back, be like, I did smoke tree, I'm on drugs.
Yep.
If you just bring yourself back to like that practical state, then you're good. Like
Yeah.
even so I took shrooms before.
Mhm.
Even with shrooms, like if you just bring yourself back to that, I did take drugs.
Yeah.
You're tripping.
Exactly.
Duh.
Yeah.
Like and if you think about it, there's a reason. Like, why am I tripping? Like, why are you are you like, if you just think about the why, and if you break it down and you're gentle with yourself, then you're good. Right. Because like, the way I broke down that social anxiety, if I'm like too high, I'm just like, okay, maybe you just think that everyone thinks you're high, and maybe you think, and I'm like, you know what? Actually, no one's even looking at me. No one even noticed.
No one cares.
Yeah, no one cares at all.
Yeah.
So you definitely just gotta like kind of break it down and be like, where's that fear coming from?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it, yes, it becomes faster when you get better at it, but it is kind of a slow process. You might find yourself just in your head.
Yeah.
But
have you found like a certain like strain or like way of consuming weed that you like before certain activities beyond just like indica in general? Do you have like any go-to things that you like to do?
I think it's because I just like, you save a lot of trees, so I just always smoke out of my bong.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you smoke, it does kind of just stay longer sometimes.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I don't think I have a preference. No, though.
I've like been playing around with different products and and like the timing of it is really interesting for me. And so I'll like, if I go to like hot yoga, it's an hour and a half, and so it's like, all right, let's take an edible like beforehand, and then
so it can last throughout.
It can last the whole time. Then I'm maybe like smoke right before I walk in.
Right.
I'm sure I reek as soon as I walk in. Like, I'm sure people. I'm sure other people are too. Exactly. Like, kind of a big deal. But yeah, I've been playing around with like, all right, I like to use edible before yoga because of the timing aspect of it. But like, if I'm gonna go for a run or climb, I like to just like smoke beforehand because I don't want to like wait for an hour and then go, exercise after that. And so, it's like an interesting process of trying to figure out like what works because like, there are certain things that like don't work. Like I've learned like there are certain strains that I'm just like, oh, fuck exercise. The other strains where I'm just like, this is awesome. Man, the human body's so cool. Like, look at me. Like, I'm like running through the woods, like at a diagonal, just like, yay.
See, that's interesting because how it affects you so differently, but I'm just like, any strain, let's go. Like, that's why it's so, when people, like even my mom, she's like, okay, so what should I use? I'm like, you just got to figure it out yourself. Whatever works for you, just got to keep trying it.
Right.
Because she used to really like the CBD stuff, but then she accidentally hit my wax pen. She goes, I don't know, I like that one. That would knock me out. I was like, see, you just gotta try it.
Exactly.
That's what I always tell her. Just don't be scared of being high.
Right.
Sometimes people are scared of it, and that's what.
How do you describe being high to people?
Mm-hmm.
When like the first time that I smoked weed,
I don't think I got high the first time. I feel like that's what everyone's experience is, though.
But yeah, like the first time that I tried, my friend described it as like, it's like that place between awake and asleep. And I don't know if that's like quite, I'll always remember that, but like, I don't know if that's quite it.
Now that I'm actually really thinking about it, the way I feel, this might be really deep, but I feel like I'm right here. Instead of like, I feel like I'm able to see myself and also bring myself back into my body.
Ooh,
it feels like there's I'm telling you, this massage therapy has helped me so much get to like different areas of my body. But like that's why I'm able to like kind of be more cool because I can like feel what I'm gonna do before. I don't know, but I definitely feel like I'm right. Not, I feel like I'm actually higher than, I'm able to like look down on.
Right.
But if someone asked me like if they've never been high, I don't know. I don't think you can describe that feeling. I really don't, because it's not like you're ha ha ha. It's really not like that. It's just I kind of feel open.
Yeah.
Cool. I kind of definitely feel open because you laugh a lot. You're kind of talkative a little bit maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, and like it's different for different people, and so it's just like
for sure.
You're not gonna die, and like I think I love that, like what we're describing with like I'm on drugs.
Yeah, you just and enjoy
I am
it.
impaired. Like this will only last for a short amount of time. I'm not going to be a completely different person after this. Like
you just kind of enjoy it for sure.
Yeah, and so like I think I still as things are becoming more legal in more areas around the United States, it's like, oh, some people are like really like, I'm not sure about this at all. I just had a conversation with my dad's friend the other day, who was like, all right, I've been taking, some, I just don't know what to do. Like I have arthritis and like I don't know what I need to ask for at the dispensary. It's just like, oh, okay. So like, I know that people are interested in learning more about weed, and then especially with like more people talking about cannabis and exercise, there's more people who are like, oh, like I've smoked before, but like I've never thought about adding it with exercise.
Right.
And so like, how do you talk to people about like cannabis and exercise, or like if they're curious about it?
So people always ask like, aren't you just like tired? Like, why would you want to go exercise? And I'm like, it's the mindset, you just have to definitely put yourself in a different mindset. Like, okay, this is what we're going to do. Let's go do it.
Right.
And when people ask, I always tell them, I'm just like, I'm in the zone, it helps me take me there. Right. I'm able to do that by myself slowly, but it's so much harder, because there's so many outside distractions. So it just, I don't know, it helps me be solo, you know?
Yeah.
But when people are I'm like, just do it, start off small, maybe go for a run, go to yoga, like start off easy, and see how it works, and then start lifting. Right. But like, I always say, be careful on it. Don't like do something,
exactly,
don't do something stupid, but like, try it. Right. I always encourage them, like, it's not it,
because like if you haven't gotten into running yet, like don't just like think that like, oh, I'm gonna smoke weed, I'm gonna go start running. It's like, go for a walk, like you just gotta be active, doing something, be active, like, move on your body. Sure. Exactly. And I found like total off tangent here, but I found now with because I like collect so much data, and how much I love graphs and stuff, it's just like, oh my god, the data I could make of like all of my like tracking my performance, like, okay, with this strain my pace was this, like I can get so in my head about that kind of stuff. And more recently I've been actively not tracking anything, and like having like weed on board to just be like, you're fine, you're just going out for a run right now, you're just moving your body, and like moving your body is the whole point of all of this. It's not about the like what your pace was. It was like, you're moving your body in interesting ways, like you're having fun out in nature, like this is actually what exercise is about. Right. It's been an interesting process for me of reestablishing my relationship with exercise, in exercise physiology, and also with weed as well. I did notice that even too, like when I started taking kinesiology classes, I started to think about stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I like this? It is hard, especially, well, you teach it all the time, and you're so but sometimes too, when you're like that, it could ruin the experience, because you're trying to, you won't, but it's like in the back, that bias will try to shape it. Exactly. And you don't want to do that. You want to shape that experience. But my favorite, one of the classes you took was motor learning, and that's like one of my favorite things ever to talk about, and to also try to put it into other areas of my life. So like what I was saying, that I'm learning how to roll joints right now, or like I'm learning how to perfect rolling joints, like getting better at the skill of rolling a joint. Right. And it's funny, like one of the people who's teaching me, he said, you're a natural to me the other day. I was just like, that's not what you're supposed to say. Like I know like the research behind that. It's like that leads to a fixed mindset. Like I want to have a growth mindset.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like, all right, I need to practice and like being okay with making errors. And so I'm like super curious to see how like motor learning and weed stuff can like be related to each other.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I think it would allow people to have patience.
That's what I'm thinking as well.
Huge, because it's like, oh, who cares? Let's try again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
like juggling is like, I do not care if I drop a ball juggling.
See, that's it. That's definitely what helps me. Tree definitely helps me with that.
Exactly.
It's just kind of like, oh, that's okay. We'll try again.
Right. Because it's that like high achiever kind of thing that, and like competitive high achiever kind of thing that you and I both have, that it's like,
for sure.
I just like need to turn that off for a minute, you know? And so, I'm excited about, different things related to motor learning and cannabis in the future. Maybe that'll be another part of my channel. Oh my gosh. But yeah, anything else you want to talk? You have your G therapy now?
Yeah, so I came up with G therapy. I want to like that's my brand, I guess. I came up with G therapy because
and it's underscore G therapy.
Yeah, right? On Instagram, underscore G therapy. But I came up with it because all my family, my friends, I love my name, but like everyone calls me G. I'm known by G. It's like, I love my nickname too. I think it like sits with who I am.
Yeah.
So, and then, I was like, figuring out how to involve like cannabis in my self-care routines, working out, my self-care, like even my beauty self-care, all that. I was like, since I use cannabis and all of that, I was like, that's my therapy. So I was like, G therapy. I was like, I love that name though, because when I finally kind of connected the both, it was just like, yeah, this is clean.
Right. Because you created that name in the senior seminar class.
I did, yes.
And I remember like when you found that, it was just like, boom, now I can do the rest of the project.
No, like literally.
It was like the name was like the big like that's what stumbling block.
Exactly.
And then it was just like once the name came, you're like, I have the whole project done now.
For real. Because I stumbled because I wanted people to hear and get my vibe right away.
Right.
I started off with Get Right. I didn't really like it because it was kind of like basic, it was kind of like I feel like everyone says like, oh, let's go get right real quick. And they're like, or like, what are you doing? I'm at the gym getting right. It was like, that's why I liked it. But then it was like, I don't know, it's not me enough.
You guys need to teach me more terms. Like I get so upset sometimes when I learn about like a word and it's just like, I'm a college kid. Like, you gotta teach me this stuff.
But so like that's why I really liked it. But I still involved in G therapy, my spiels that I have. But I don't know, G therapy really just feels like me.
Totally.
When people hear it, they're like, okay, I like that too.
Yeah.
And like especially when people get to know me, like how G's are, and like it's like it just fits.
Yeah.
It's great. And everything that I'm like doing right now that I want to involve my business is definitely perfect for that name too.
Yes. Okay, so and like what's like the long-term goal? What's the
plan?
So
I want to have I don't know if I want to call it a spa yet, but but that's like the image everyone get in their head, so I just say that. So I want to have like a spa, but I want to involve cannabis in it. I want to hopefully have like a dispensary too involved in it, kind of like a spa and dispensary combined. But ultimately, I want to be a chiropractor. But then in this little spa, I want to have massage therapists. I want to have estheticians, maybe lash and nail artists on the side. But I don't really want to focus on like I wouldn't say beauty. Well, health is beauty, but like, I really wouldn't want to say like, I want to have nail art or like, I want to go crazy on the lashes. I want to more focus on like cleaning the lashes or like really getting a nice pedicure, keeping your nails clean, keeping your arms clean, all of that. So I want to focus on that aspect more.
Totally.
Yeah. And awesome. Because, I feel like if you are, you're getting yourself right, you're getting yourself better, it will help you in all areas of life.
Totally.
So yeah, that's where I want to end up.
Amazing. Amazing. I'm so excited to hear that. And like so happy, like as a teacher, like we always hope that like you guys are okay out there, like first of all, and like second of all, like that you're still like learning and interested in learning more and like expanding your skills. And it's like so cool that every time I run into you, it's just like, oh yeah, like I did this thing, like, oh yeah, I'm doing this now. It's like it definitely
I get it. It is hard to keep going. It for sure is, but also, the reason why I keep going is because it's gonna be so hard to get going when I stop.
Right.
So like if there's been a lot of things too, like in my journey of learning, that I've like realized that this is just not for me, and that's the best part, because then it makes me want to keep going. I'm like, this isn't it. Okay, let me try again.
Yep.
That's why I looked further into going to chiropractic school, because I love massage therapy, but I do not see myself as being like as keep doing this,
for life.
Yeah, exactly. I really want to go. I wanted to go deeper into the water, and I wanted to do more.
Right.
So I was like, okay, let me keep going, and the thing is, I don't have a break in between my two schools. I'm like, okay, it's going to be a grind, but it's going to be worth it for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know. I had a very similar kind of thing where it was like, okay, I had to go straight from undergrad to PT school. Like, all right, I'm going to work as a PT. I don't like that anymore. All right, now I need to go back to school and like exercise physiology. Like, I don't like this anymore. What do I do next?
Right.
All right, motor learning, motor control. Awesome. I love this. Cool. We can do that. Move to Humboldt. Like, we can do weed stuff. It's just like, all right. So I just like continuing to like,
it just keeps you alive.
Absolutely.
You gotta keep going. And the thing is, sometimes people like, even when I feel it too, that like getting into something, that kind of fear of like, oh, why am I doing this? I feel like I have so much background already. Gianna, why don't you just stop here?
Right.
I definitely feel that, but I'm like, you know what? Just keep going.
Yeah.
Like if you can, do it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
For sure. Yeah.
Love it. Amazing. Cool. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, thank you.
Amazing. Yeah. Perfect. All right. Well, let's
cool. That was a good conversation.
I know, right? Yeah. No,
I love talking about this stuff. Oh my gosh.
I know. And now we get to finally smoke a joint together.
Yes, I'm down.
I don't smoke with my students. And now that you're not a student anymore,
it's so
cool. Amazing. Cool. All right. Yay. Stop.
Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to learn more, you can follow me on Instagram at Exploring Cannabis and Exercise or at Dr. Ogle, or you can visit my website at whitneyogle.com. If you want to support this podcast, you can sign up for Patreon at patreon.com/Exploring Cannabis and Exercise. This podcast was produced by Haley Montowski, and the music used on this podcast is called Bonfire Cauliflower, created by Isaac Joel. Make good choices out there.